What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Catacombs. So I'm a bit late when it comes to talking about this particular situation with um, Ebony K. Williams and the Van Zandt. Um, that whole clip has just gone ridiculous, gone really, really crazy. There's been a lot of perspectives spoken about it, and I want to talk about a couple of those perspectives. The one I want to talk about first is the one that was the most unorthodox, and I never really thought about it in this context. And it came from Mamiya Obsidian, and he made a point about Iyanla Van Zandt making the blue collar worker a scapegoat. And I didn't think about it that way. Like everybody else, I was kind of fixated on Ebony K. Williams and her comment, and I was offended by it. You know, being a blue collar worker myself, it's like, well, wait a minute, are we all below the totem pole? We just not good enough? It's just because you work a regular job doesn't mean that you're just some average person in every aspect of your life, and that's where it came off. But let's go back real quick with the perspective from Obsidian. He says that Iyanla Van Zandt is using blue collar workers as scapegoats, and how he said it made a lot of sense. Like, she said, well, would you date a bus driver? Like, okay, so why are you using the bus driver or the regular person as the person that is at the bottom? Like, you're saying it as if that person is beneath X, Y, or Z. It's like, well, wait a minute. Well, why would you use them? Why is it that you can't ask the woman in question, well, how come it didn't work with the men that you actually want? The men that you want on your level. Why is it that you couldn't have those men marry you, those men commit to you? Why are you asking the question of, would you date down? Quote unquote, dating down. And I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, because that question never comes up when it comes to a successful woman. They always say, well, where are all the good men at? Or where are the men on my level? It's like, well, there are men on your level right now. Why aren't you able to attract those men? And a lot of times that question is never asked, and we never get an answer to that question. It's usually always, well, since you don't have any good men, you say that you don't have any good men, then why don't you date a bus driver or a plumber or stuff like that? We know how women in general see men as far as we're status symbols. Well, for women are status symbols for men, but women want to have a man that they can brag to their girlfriends about. Well, it's understandable. I get it. A lot of women want that. And there's some women that, hey, nah, as long as he makes a decent amount of money and our lifestyle is cool, I'm good. But some women want the top tier guy, and they feel like they're settling if they don't get the top tier guy all the time. And you know what? I mean, that's hypergamy at work. You can't really get too mad at it. The only point that I get upset about is when women start talking down to the men that they don't find attractive, financially attractive. So, yeah, but that perspective from Obsidian, when he was talking about using blue collar workers as a scapegoat, that really, really opened up the conversation for me, anyways. Now let's get to Ebony K. Williams. She says she'll only date somebody if he owns the bus. Again, that's the hypergamy. Women want men who are high status. I get it. I understand. I can't be too mad at her wanting someone like that. However, you can see it all over this woman's face when that clip went out the first time, when she said, if he owns the bus. Look at that clip. You can see it all over her face that she was disgusted at the thought of dating someone or marrying someone who drove a bus. Mind you, let's not get it twisted. There's bus drivers out there that's making $85, $90K a year. Actually, I would like to know how much money Ebony K. Williams actually makes. I would like to know that. I would like to know that. I should look that up. But there are bus drivers out there that are making above average salaries. So there's truck drivers making above average salaries, And her response to this isn't to say that, hey, look, I may have came off a little off-putting, it may have came off condescending to the bus drivers or the blue-collar workers out there, and that wasn't my intention, and I apologize. She could have went that route, but her response was not that route. She was making again, digging into the condescending bag of calling everybody who had regular jobs, oh well, you're average, and you got C's and D's, and like, I'm like, really? That was your response? That's your response for real? And then you go on the Breakfast Club and try to triple down with your comment saying, well, yeah, I mean, if you're a truck driver in 10 years, your job's going to be gone from AI. So she's doing everything to just discount anything that's considered an average job. And it's like, come on, woman. For me, the more she talks, the more of a hole she's digging herself into. Oh, and one other thing I would like to note. When it comes to DJ Envy, I really actually applaud you, sir. You're actually pretty consistent when it comes to these types of arguments. If you all recall, he had the similar argument with Damon Dash a while back when Dame Dash was talking about how can you as a man be okay with having a boss, and and he was like, DJ Envy he said, you sound stupid right now. You really do, because you literally have hundreds of millions of people who have regular jobs, and you're shitting on all of them. You can't, like, come on, dog. And he had a very similar stance with Eboni K. Williams as he did with Damon Dash. So I got to applaud DJ Envy for being consistent when it comes to this type of argument. I thought that was dope. There are other things with Envy that I'm like, come on, dog, really? I'm scratching my head. I disagree with. But on this particular situation, on this particular subject, he's consistent, and I gotta applaud him for that, because he definitely held up to the fire a little bit. You could see she was getting a little antsy, a little this, that, and the third. It's crazy. But again, she said something else in one of her responses about the black man this and the black. When the hell did it become race? You know what I'm saying? They say, wow, black women always expected to settle. And that's a problem, man. Like a lot of black women, man, y'all really gotta adjust y'all's thinking. I want to say something really quick, and I'm not gonna ramble on about it too much in this video. I think I'm gonna have to make another video separate by itself. But I want to mention one thing. Like, black women look at relationships similar to every other woman. That's correct. Every other woman wants to have a nice lifestyle. They want to be taken care of. I get it. The problem is black women assume that when it comes to black men, given the history, that we're supposed to do the same thing as the Asian man, the Arab man, the white man as a whole. There are individual black men that can do it, but as a whole, that's not the case. With black people in the States, there's going to have to be some sacrifices made. That means when it comes to a black woman who's making more money than her spouse, she might have to be okay with that for this generation in order to create that generational wealth that black women talk about so often. It's going to have to be a situation where we're going to have to adjust our thinking in order for our people to actually survive. We can't do, at the moment, we cannot do what other groups are doing. Other groups seem to have it together. They seem to get it. We have to get it also, but we're going to have to adjust some thinking. I just wanted to put that out there real quick. I am going to make another video about that, talking about that in more depth. But yeah, there's going to have to be some adjustments made when it comes to restoring the relationship between black men and black women. But yeah, man. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, and until the next one, y'all be easy.